family didn't take you out to California. You moved out
No.
when you were an adult.
In fact, they were dead set against me moving out there. My best friend since I was 12, I still talk to him this day. He's actually commenting on our live chat, Big Joe Degano. He raced pro motocross. So he came to Bakersfield in 87 to race. He goes, dude, get the fuck out of Jersey. Excuse me if I can't say that. Get the heck out of Jersey. It snows. These guys out in Cali are racing 6-7 days a week. I go, oh, what am I doing in the snow? I used to go do indoor sprints in a horse barn because it snowed. So he came out in 87. He said, listen, there's a national out here. Come out here, check out California. So I go to Bakersfield, low riders. They're putting pennies to Oh Yeah by Yellow. They're throwing pennies in the subwoofers and kicking them out. Like, this is California. This is beautiful. I want to live here. And it was Bakersfield. So
was this the race that Bubba Hayes mooned everybody over the jump?
No, this was the race where Bartlett blew his face apart in the jump contest.
Okay.
So I met so many people there. Moeller was there. I met Eric Carter there. Cecil Johns was a friend of mine back then. So I go there and Billy Griggs had his little lowrider. You know, I was like, this is cool. Why am I in Jersey? This is what Bob Osborne made it for us with bicycle motocross action. He created a utopia, and we wanted to be like that. I literally used to look at haircuts. I'm nuts. Whatever. I used to look at haircuts in the magazines and go, I want a haircut like this. Like Bob Morales had a cool haircut. I wanted to be Cali so bad.
Yes. I don't blame you.
So then Big Joe, we stayed at his house. I race. I get destroyed because the NorCal guys are, and the SoCal guys. It's just, I was a big fish in a small pond in Jersey. So I come out here thinking, oh, it's going to translate. I got killed.
Right.
So I go back and Big Joe says, you got to make a date. If you don't set a date, you're never going to leave. And I said, May 8th, 1988. I'm driving. I'm leaving. Right. My dad was a blue collar East Coast Italian. You get smacked around if so I was like, wait a minute, I could move out of the house and race 6 times a week. So I approached my parents. My mother wasn't having it. What are you going to do? My dad said, you better get a job before I'm not letting you out of the house unless you have a job there. Okay, no problem. I'm racing a local in Jersey. Brian Gass, I love him to death. He comes out to me. He's working with 09. He says, I'm going to make you a plate because you're sponsored by 09. Here you go. You ever think about moving to California? I go, fuck yeah, actually I am. He goes, you can stay at my place. You talk to Brian too. His mom, he forgot to tell them. So I show up and I'm like, anyway, before I get there, I go to Braddock and I get 5th place. I make $75 in the pro main in Braddock at this ABA National, counting the money. And Chris Moeller is there, and he has this zine called Soul, and it was so cool. Once again, it was the fucking boof. He made it look so cool. Wow, I make a little zine magazine, and it has everything you want to know about California. And I go, man. So I go, Chris, I'm going to move to California. He says, cool. It's Sunday. I'll see you on Wednesday at Orange Y BMX. And I go, oh, shit. So I go home. I'm packed, in my little Ford. What I have, a Ford Escort or something, right? It's packed. I drive to the top of the hill. I look back and I go, oh, shit. I made it. Like, I never got to deal with my dad being angry at me anymore. This is great, right?
How much money did you have?
$2,000.
Okay, so at least you got $2,000, man.
Well, I worked at this gas station, Zanawick, Sunoco, and I worked 5:45 to 3 p.m. so that I could get out and ride all day. Everything evolved around riding. Girlfriends, oh, you want to go out on a Saturday night? I got a race. I can't be dating you now because you're interfering with my BMX. Like, it's OCD, whatever. It works sometimes. So yeah, I drove out in 3 days. I went to Orange Y and I said, hey, Chris, I'm here. And this was before Chris. Well, it's odd because he had a P.O. box and he lived at his dad's house when I met him. I meet all these S&M kids today at the trails and everything. And they're like, hey, Robbie Morales of Colt. I used to drive to Long Island from Jersey to ride with him because he didn't have a driver's license, right? So when all these guys are like, hey, Colt, Robbie, I'm like, you guys understand. So it's funny to have been in it.
Yeah.
We all grew up together because Chris was 18. I was 20 at the time. So we all kind of came up see, I raced Dave Clymer on the East Coast. He's absolutely an amazing athlete. Jesus. But we ended up living together at the POW house, which is a whole nother story. Most of those things aren't true, but whatever. But I was over at I go to 805 bicycles. Nick's over there, and I was in there one day asking around. I started talking. He had some S&Ms. We started shooting the shit, and he goes, "Hey, I think I know you." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, I know who you are. You lived at the POW house." He goes, "I have a story from there." I'm like, everybody that meets you goes, "I have a POW story," and you're like, because it was wild times. It was eventually we started in the HBP house, which was like Bill Brad and John Paul Rogers and Chris and Alan Foster and Dave Clymer. So we all lived in a house. Everybody moved in '88, basically. I remember Big E and TC moved in '88. Alan Foster, Dave Clymer moved in '88. So it was this big push in '88 for some reason.
What city was the POW house in?
Well, POW house was in Westminster, so pros of Westminster. Okay. The HBP house was Huntington Beach pros, so we all just lived there. We had guests come down. Some guys from Canada came down. Cale Hulse, Perry Nelson. They would come and just stay. It was a house, right? Like it was a frat house, basically. I can remember one time somebody peed in another guy's cologne bottle, and he's like, "Ah!" I mean, the antics were terrible, right? So
dude, this sounds fascinating and terrifying all at the same time. Now that I'm an adult, but back then this must have been nirvana, bro. Oh my god, dude.
You went to work. I worked at Right Way before GT bought them. So you're working in a bicycle warehouse. You're looking at the clock, man. It's 5 o'clock. We get to the Orange Y. I don't think I missed an Orange Y in 3 years. Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, unless you're going to nationals. But the trucks would come in with all the tires, and they'd want to unload, and we're like, "No, we got to get to Orange Y. Shit, we're not going to make it." Like everybody's obsessed, but we at the POW house, we literally had a track through the kitchen, and then you hit the track. So, and it became ramps after a while. So you're living in this thing where all you do is you ride. We all worked for Anthony Reyes' dad moving, so we could move all night and then have the day to ride. Like, what a life, right? Like you obsess on riding. That's all you do is you just ride.
Oh, you did. Yep. And drink and try to find food.
Yeah. And so then we'd all hop in a truck to go on summer tour, just as Chris had S&M at the time, so he had his bus, and we would jump in there. But still, we would just shower on golf courses. We'd sleep in the stairwells late night and get out early before anybody could see us in the hotel. So summer tours were just about survival, get enough money to get to the next race. I look now and I go, I kind of enjoy investing, and I'm like, I don't give a crap about anything. If you had $2,000 in your bank account, you were loaded. And I was like, what a life. The first job I had, though, I worked at Right Way, and then I went to Auburn. So if you guys have an Auburn, I probably put it together, because I would sit in the warehouse with Todd Huffman, and I would put Auburns together.
So this was Auburn was with GT at the time, or before?
Yeah, no. It was Bob Morales, Moore Distributing, MOR for Morales, and it was Todd Huffman. So they had.
Was this when it was still called Honda?
Honda.
Yeah.
No, it was Auburn through Moore Distributing.
Auburn was named Honda before they became Auburn.
Oh, no shit.
That's why they call it the CR, right? Oh. Isn't it Auburn called the CR?
Yeah, 100%. I used to put them together.
Yeah. It was. They changed. I think Bob changed the name to Auburn when. Yeah, he had a problem with Honda was supposed to do a co-sponsor thing with her, and Honda backed out. So there's something called Honda. But anyways, I don't want to preach to you. I mean, you know 100 times more than I ever will know about BMX.
Well, that's okay. It's okay. We're all BMXers. So Bob Morales was awesome. He gave me a job at Group B Designs. When the Core Bash Guards gave out, he gave us a bunch of those. Like, Bob's been awesome. I met Bob in 1981 at the exact spot I'm having my festival at on October 5th. He was there with Bob Haro, and he rolls up, and I was like, "Nice to meet you. My sister had a crush on him." These guys from Cali are coming in. Once again, Bob Osborne brainwashing me. Here comes the Cali dudes with their hairstyles and their clothes. And I'm like, they listen to Oingo Boingo. This is great. And the B-52s. Wow. It is coming from somewhat of a small beach community. So, Cali is it's this thing. And I saw Bob Osborne when I went to Frogtown, and I was like, I got to thank you, man. You created this world, and we all bought into it. And I'm still here because of it.